Good morning and welcome to the special edition of Plus Sports right here on Plus TV. My name, of course, is Wale Agbede, bringing you this very special Saturday edition right here, live from our studios in Lagos. It's an interesting weekend because there is a lot to enjoy this weekend from the world of sports, starting with football, where it's a weekend of big games. Liverpool play Manchester City this weekend. There's also the Classique in France at the Parc des Princes between Paris Saint-Germain and Olympique Marseille. And there's also in Spain the El Grande Classico between Real Madrid and Barcelona. There's been some interesting games in the Premier League. In fact, the shape of the Premier League table this season has looked quite maybe odd when you consider that Arsenal are still there after 10 round of matches. I mean, that's not something we're used to in recent years. And that's where we start from as we preview what to expect in the Premier League. Of course, we will land at the big game between Liverpool and Manchester City. But to preview the Premier League with me this morning is football pundit Benga Boyega joining me live right here on Plus Sports. Benga, good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Wale Agbede, and it's great to be on the show. It's always great to be on any sports show because a lot of sporting news, especially coming from the English top flight to munch on. Yeah, so I'm happy to be here. Happy weekend to you.
All right, let's start off quickly. Even though we want to preview what's going to be happening this weekend, let's start off from what we saw last night at the Brentford Community Stadium between Brentford and
Yeah.
Brighton and Hove Albion. 2 goals to nil ended. Ivan Tony, Benga, you have to admit, is staking a claim for a place on the plane to Qatar.
Exactly, and that's where I'm going to start from. Gareth Southgate, with all of the hanky pankies and hiccups that the English national teams is facing, he still has lots of resources in his arsenal. Come Qatar 2022, talk about the fullbacks. Although at the moment injuries is kind of limiting the options, but up front with the number of players coming into their own, you could talk about Mason Mount for Chelsea, you could talk about Ivan Toney, as you just mentioned, for Brentford, Phil Foden, Sterling, Harry Kane scoring left, right, and centre.
This camera is not good.
It's no mainstay to say Gareth Southgate has a lot of things to ponder when the World Cup starts.
So I do absolutely agree. Not Southgate to decide. But of course, in the what's it called, the wing back position, especially on the right, you did mention it. That I mean, they seem to be struggling there. Rhys James now we hear could be missing the World Cup. Kyle Walker did have a surgery a couple of weeks ago. Could be missing the World Cup. Trent Alexander-Arnold is also out for Liverpool. We don't know yet if he's going to be fit for the World Cup. Even Kieran Trippier has had his injury problems this season. So yes, England, as much as they do have wing-back problems, we can both agree that in the striking position, they seem to be doing just quite well. When you consider how Tammy Abraham is also doing in the Serie A with AS Roma, doing very, very well. Brighton, I mean, maybe they are missing their manager, Graham Potter, who has started well at Chelsea. 4 or 5 games now, remains unbeaten as he's moving to Stamford Bridge. But let's move on to the games that we're going to be watching this weekend. Arsenal play Leeds. I mean, in a couple of years ago, it would have been a game that you say maybe a banana skin for them. But the Leeds at the moment under Jesse Marsh, the way Arsenal are playing right now, you get a feeling that Arsenal will continue their march on top of the Premier League at the end of this match day. What do you think, Benga?
I think Arsenal have gotten to the point where analysts, pundits, fans should stop giving them breaking points or stop giving them timelines. Okay, they need this test against this big team. They need this test against this banana spill, like you just said. These guys are winning games. As far as I'm concerned, they've won more games than Man City this season. They've won 8 games in 10 matches. Yeah, Man City have won 7, right? Drawn more and lose. Arsenal have lost just one against Manchester United. So the Gunners are doing well until they begin to falter. Then we can begin to say, oh, the banter here and there. But for now, Mikel Arteta has stabled his side. the young guys go into the game knowing exactly what to do, and that's very very impressive from Mikel Arteta and also the boys. Bukayo Saka, when he won the English Player for 2022, a lot of people were raising eyebrows that should that be the standard of the Three Lions at the moment. But take nothing away from the young lad. Bukayo Saka is coming into his own. When they lost Aubameyang at the start of the year, people thought, oh, they were going to crumble. But now they've gone into the market, brought in Gabriel Jesus, and everybody is just coming into the puzzle for Mikel Arteta. So it's a nice one for him, and I see this as a straight win for against Leeds.
The media should step away from giving timelines. But do you think 10 matches into the season is enough to start calling them title contenders?
When was the last time Arsenal won eight games in the first 10 games?
Well,
First 10
the
matches.
last
When
two
was the
times
last
that they
time?
did, Benga, to answer your question, the last two times that they did, right, which was in 2004-05 and in 2009, 2010, they didn't win the league.
Yeah, they didn't win it, but you look at precedents up until that time. Before the 2004, 2005, they just won it in 2003, 2004. So just like what is happening to Liverpool this season, with the fatigue of playing almost every single
Are you
available
really
game
comparing
last
Arsenal with
season in the
Liverpool
Premier
this
League.
season?
So I'm saying now, in contrast to that season, they are not coming off any fatigue. If anything, they didn't even play outside UK last season. So the context in their 8 wins in 2004, 2005 show that they played a lot of games in the previous season. They won the trophy, golden trophy. But this time around, they have something they are running towards, and that should be a form of inspiration and momentum for them.
All right. So Benga, before we leave Arsenal again, Arsenal has to be a topic because they sit on top of the Premier League.
Of course, they are league leaders.
Are you saying that Arsenal are firmly in the title race? I
Of
just
course,
I just want a
they
yes
are
or yes or no.
they are not favorites. They are not outright favorites, but they are contenders. We can boldly call them contenders at the moment.
Alongside who? How many teams do you think are in the title race?
So at the moment, the serious guys are the top two guys: Man City and Arsenal. Liverpool, except something miraculous happens, or except maybe they pick a three points tomorrow against Man City and reduce the gap. I don't see them launching any assault. Chelsea, for all we know, are gaining momentum. They could win their fifth straight game under Graham Potter or fourth straight game in the Premier League. So a lot of things are playing around, but real title contenders this season is down to two teams, and that's Arsenal and Man City.
All right, you just mentioned Manchester City. That's the big game in the Premier League this weekend. Let's just go there right now. It's Liverpool against City this weekend. And there isn't so much to talk about City as we do Liverpool. So maybe we should start with Liverpool, whom you've mentioned. They are struggling. They had a big season last year. After the game we're seeing on our screen right now, the Community Shield, everybody thought, wow, it's going to be Liverpool City again. Of course, they did win the game 3-1. Liverpool, but they've struggled. We've not really had this conversation, me and you, Benga. What do you think is Liverpool's problem this season?
So I was linking that up to Arsenal's 2004-2005 when I said they played a lot of matches last season. They got to every single available final, especially the Champions League final, the finals of the Carling Cup, the FA Cup. Played every single game in the Premier League, losing just 1 point to Man City. Lost one of their pivotal guys in terms of work rates. That's Sadio Mane. Though nobody would say just one player holds the entire team, but we could see how the loss of a player, especially to injury, can affect the momentum of the team. Not to talk of a player being sold or leaving the club. Mohamed Salah has failed to score in the first 9 Premier League games, and that's uncharacteristic of the player. If you go back to previous seasons, he scores left, right, and center. And these are the reasons. Alexander Arnold not just suffering in the team, suffering in the national team. So the players that would come in handy for Liverpool on a normal day are the players that are out of form. If you check the charts last season, top assists, top goal scorers, Mohamed Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold were on the top of everything. But look at those players this season. They are a stark contrast to what we know them for. So the players that would or that should take Liverpool the distance are coming short. The midfield is haggard, no steel. So
Yeah,
in fact,
Benga, if you say it is due to fatigue from the amount of games they played in recent years, in the
yeah.
last, I mean, similar number of players, right? In the last 3-4 years, Liverpool and Manchester, in fact, Manchester City have played more games than them, but we've not seen Manchester City go through the kind of spell that Liverpool are going through right now.
In context, look at the starting 11 of Manchester City in those games. In fact, if you play Premier League fantasy a lot, or you play some, you do bookings a lot, you find out that some people, when they want to pick players in Manchester City team, they are not even sure who will start. That's the context. But if you talk about the Liverpool team, you are sure of the front three, you are sure of the back four, you are sure of the goalkeeper. But for Man City, they've utilized their depth a lot. They've utilized the rotation a lot. At the time, Aguero wasn't starting games at the end of his career. Gabriel Jesus, who we thought should be the second in command, wasn't even starting games. So Man City, on the other hand, though they played more games, utilized more legs. But for Liverpool, they played many games, but they didn't utilize many legs.
All right. I mean, we're just going to move on from Liverpool now. I don't necessarily agree with fatigue, but I mean,
So it's a problem, it's an issue anyway.
well, fair enough. I just feel like there are so many things that could affect teams' performances. Again, I don't necessarily think it's fatigue because these guys they pay a lot of attention to sports science, how they recover. So if they haven't done that at Liverpool, then it will be the club's fault, and not.
So cite an example of N'Golo Kante, who we thought is a solid player, who we thought is a strong player, who can run the depth and length of the team, of the field. He's suffering from fatigue at the moment because of the things he's done in the past. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, again, not necessarily, because you consider the number of games that people like Ronaldo, Messi, Zlatan, that they played in their careers, and they haven't had niggling injuries. So again, it's not. I don't think it's 2+2, right? And that's why I don't necessarily
Of course,
agree
it isn't, but
that
it's
is
just
fatigue. But quickly moving on, before we leave the Premier League, Manchester City, who will be the opponents today? A lot of people deem them favourites. I mean, some Liverpool fans are excited with the 7 goals in midweek. But City are favourites going into this game. And the major reason why they're favourites, Benga, is because of Erling Haaland. We were discussing him the last time you were on the show. And since then, he has gone on to score a further double digits. And we're just in October.
we're just in October. I stumbled on the Alan Shearer tweet, his statement about if Harry Kane was in this same team, he would score as many.
And that's where I was going, Benga. You just took it out of my mouth because I'm seeing British pundits now try to reduce the impact he's having in the Premier League.
Exactly. So one would argue, right, not like they are entirely wrong. One would argue that if you look at his numbers in a team that seemingly creates lesser chances than Manchester City, he scores a lot of goals. So it is normal or logical to say, okay, remove him from A and put him in B, and he will do the same. But in context, look at goal per game ratio, right from Salzburg to Borussia Dortmund, and now in Man City, he beats every single team. He beats every single player. He beats Lewandowski. The only how will I put it, edge Lewandowski had over him in the German Bundesliga was that he played more games, so he could score more goals. Should Haaland start every single game for Dortmund, he would have been winning the Golden Boot. So I feel like the conversation isn't taken in context. People are just taking, oh, Harry Kane is a wonderful striker, so any wonderful striker can perform in Man City. But talking about the numbers, nah, Haaland is out of everybody's league.
All right, before I let you go, Benga, this morning, I have to take a prediction. Who do you think is going to win? Liverpool versus Manchester City?
It's definitely going to be Man City, but I just feel like it's not going to
When
be...
you say definitely, you seem like you are seeing the future.
Definitely based on form. Definitely based on form, because at the moment, you watch Manchester City and they don't pity any player. They don't pity any team. Over the week in the Champions League, they were the only side that didn't score a goal, I think. Okay, Club Brugge also played a 0-0 draw. But before then, they've scored in every single game. And this is the Liverpool side that are having defensive frailties, that are having defensive challenges. Konate is not playing 90 minutes. Gomez is here or there, though anytime he's called upon, he's solid. Van Dijk is getting exposed against a hot Haaland, against a Foden that can score a hat-trick when he's called upon, against Mahrez that can be a substitute and still be prime Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't see anything Liverpool can get.
You are not considering the fact that Salah scored a hat-trick in 6 minutes in the Champions League.
Against Rangers. Before Liverpool met Rangers on Thursday, Rangers had lost every single game in the Champions League. So if you perform wonderfully well against a struggling side, it doesn't hold water when you play against Manchester City. Right?
All right. Thank you very much, Gbenga, for joining us to preview the Premier League this weekend.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, fantastic. Gbenga joining us live from Lagos to talk about the Premier League, and he thinks that Manchester City would scale through today to keep up the pace with Arsenal, whom a lot of people expect to get past Leeds United. Anyway, time for us to go on a quick break. We have, during the course of the week, we set eyes on a number of players who are shining in European football, but have Nigerian heritage, especially one that has come to light in recent weeks. A lot of people did know him, but a lot more people now see him week in, week out playing for Manchester City in Manuel Akanji. Used to be at Borussia Dortmund. He's a Swiss international, but has now moved to the Premier League with Man City, and a lot more people have now realized that he has Nigerian roots. So we decided on Plus Sports to take a look at players who could have featured for the Super Eagles but are now playing for other international teams.